All right, family. Let me go ahead and say this off the top. Look, I just watched this video. This woman basically sharing her story about four abortions, as you guys can see on the screen. Three different men, all before 33 years old. And I'm not judging, I'm observing. There's a difference. But what I am going to do is break it all the way down and be objective as possible because I think we got to stop normalizing chaos and calling it healing. But with no further ado, let's check out the clip.
Hey, how y'all doing? Just in light of the last video that I posted, I actually wanted to take the time to share my experience and my story with pregnancy and abortion with you all. I hope that you all can be respectful about what I'm getting ready to say, but at the end of the day, everybody has an opinion. You're entitled to it, and you have no heaven or hell to put me in. And so at the end of the day, listen if you will. So when I was 16, I got pregnant for the first time by my manager at Rally's. I was in Hampton High School playing basketball. I was one of five children. I have a single mom raised me with no father. My stepdad was in and out of my life, as he was, in and out cheating on my mom, whatever, what have you. And my dad never really confirmed that DNA wise. All right. So first time I got pregnant, I got an abortion. My OBGYN actually told me how I could petition the courts as a minor to have an abortion, right? Because my mom actually was trying to make me have the child. I grew up in a Christian household. We didn't believe in, well, they didn't believe in it because I believed in righting my wrongs, and I don't believe that I should have to pay for a mistake for the rest of my life. The second time I got pregnant, I was pregnant by an ex-boyfriend who was 10 years older than me. I had met him when I was 13. He was literally 23 years old. So I got pregnant around about like 17 years old. I was getting ready to go to college at Virginia State University. And it was an abusive relationship. I was mentally, physically abused. He pulled my hair out of my hair, slapped me in my face. I had got this guy's name tattooed on me twice. Covered it up twice. But that was a relationship that I should have never even had been in. So when we talk about the mental trauma of going through an abortion now 2 times, fast forward to 21 years old. I'm getting ready to graduate college, walk across the stage with my degree. I got pregnant by a guy named Jordan. Literally lied to me, told me that, he didn't think he could have children, and he didn't, ejaculate inside of me, and the entire time was just lying, right? We got into an argument, yada yada. He told me to abort my child. I told him I didn't want the child. He paid for the abortion. I went shopping with the money. It was a mess. It was a whole mess. That was number 3. I got pregnant by the same guy again. Yes. Foolish. I know. I got pregnant by that same guy again. Now I'm in grad school and I'm trying to get this second degree. And it's always funny to me how the people, who don't have the means, the money, the house, the car, the job, those are the women that get pregnant. And then the women that don't have or that do have, the means to provide, and they have the degrees and whatever else, the money, and it's like they can't get pregnant. It's just like you come from this nice family and your parents are engineers, and they work at the university, and those like people that have that financial support and that family support, it's like those are the ones that just can't have the children, right? But if you're in a messed up situation, if you don't have a supportive family, your mom, your dad, your siblings, nobody, it's like wow, how do you get pregnant? And so I think it's just a crazy situation. And I just wanted to share my experience with you all, because after you go through so much trauma, I think that now, like even at the age of 33 right now, like the idea of me carrying a man's child, and the semen altering the DNA in my mind and literally just changing my chemical makeup inside of my body is really scary, and to each his own. Whatever decisions you make, you have to deal with that, and you have to answer to God for that. And it's not nobody's place to burden you or make you feel bad. And so I just wanted to share my story with all of the women out there, and I hope that y'all share this and blast this, and don't eat me up too much in the comments, because I got time today. But I am definitely trying to be as transparent with you all as possible. I have had 4 abortions by 3 different men. 4. And it wasn't easy to get here, because now I got this house, and it's like now I have the space for my children, but now I don't have the children, right? And so it's weird how life works out, but it's also made me not even want to have children at all. Like, just the trauma alone and the experience of going through all that I've been through, it has literally made me not even want to deal with the situation. Part of me wants to have a family. Part of me wants to be, big mama, a grandmother, a great grandmother, and just love. And then the other part of me is just like, I already had something ripped out of my womb enough times. It hurts. It's a traumatic emotional experience that you go through. And just because I had to make that decision does not mean that it was easy, and it was made out of love. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of children in foster care who people don't even love them. They're just adopting the children just to get the paycheck, and to say that you are literally doing something and it looks good, but behind closed doors, behind the scenes, it's nothing nice. And the same thing goes for these women that have all of these children, these multiple children. They may not have the mental capacity to take care of those children. They may not have, the financial means to take care of those children. But they're the ones with all the children. And then, like I said, the ones that have the means, that have, the time and everything, it's like they can't get pregnant. And so it's like, why would the Bible say be fruitful and multiply if not everybody can have kids? And why was I chosen to be the one to have them? So it's just like, I'm in my feelings a little bit, y'all, but I just wanted to share my story with the world. Because one thing about it, I'm not ashamed of anything I have done at all. I love who I am. I'm healing. I'm literally trying to open up to the possibility of giving my heart to a man. But that is so hard to do. I ain't gonna hold you, because it's like, cut, snip, snip. See you later, Chuck the deuces, peace. I ain't got time for it. I'm not at the drop of trouble. It's like, you know what, F this, screw this, I'm out. And I wish I wasn't like that, but my dad walked out on me. And so now I guess I gotta walk out on everybody else.
Her dad walked out on her, so that means she gotta walk out on everybody else, and she wish she wasn't like that. And she in her emotions right now. And she's saying that a lot of people have kids that be in foster homes, and they have kids just to say they were carrying kids, but don't even care about their kids, and not even capable of taking care of their kids. And she was chosen to have a kid, so she don't feel ashamed that she did the right thing by doing abortions 4 times. So let me backtrack. So sis started off by saying, hey y'all, please be respectful of my story, and then proceeds to drop a bomb. She was pregnant at 16. Baby daddy was her manager at Riley's. Whole time she's in high school playing basketball in a Christian household. Already we got layers. She says her OBGYN told her this is when she fully started deflecting and playing the victim, and basically excluding herself from doing the very thing she did 4 times, which is kill a womb. or kill a child in her womb, right? Knowingly opening her legs 4 times. But how her OBGYN told her to petition the courts to get an abortion because her mom wanted her to keep the baby. That's wild in itself, but let's keep going. So she goes through with it, first abortion done. But here's my thing. Even at 16, we know what we're doing. Don't act like every teenager is out here clueless, because back in the day, we know we were being reckless. You know, like my mom would say, running around like your stuff don't stink. You know, thinking you fresh but ain't got a pot to piss in. You know, because young boys, they sneak girls. I have friends sneak girls into their house when they mom at work. And the girls used to be fresher and know more about fresh stuff than the boys. Knew how to have, knew how to do fresh stuff such as um, having intercourse. And I have friends that didn't know how to do none of that, but they started interacting with females, which I shied away from, that were really fresh and knew more, and knew how to do things bef- before the boys, right? No more for their little old age. And I ain't talking 16. They knew this at 14, 13, 14. I mean, coming fresh out of middle school, knowing fresh stuff. Like, and we knew we were being reckless. We knew they knew, we knew we were sneaking off, and knew we were you knew you were creeping out with older dudes, because back then females was doing that. And they knew, like I said, it was the females know more fresh stuff and know more about being fresh than the boys. So that's the first red flag. And don't hit me with the broken household backstory, because that's what she did. A lot of us came from that struggle. Ain't no daddy in the house, mama working 2 jobs, family dysfunction. We had all of that. But at some point, you got to say, all right, that was the hand I was dealt. But what am I doing with it to make a difference, right? Or I'm going to continue to be the degenerate that I am. Fast forward, she gets pregnant again. Now she's 17 and her man is 10 years older than her. She met this man when she was 13 and he was 23. Excuse me? That's not a relationship. That's grooming, right? Now she's saying it was abusive. He slapped her, pulled out her hair, got his name tattooed on her twice. She calls it toxic, um, which I call it trauma as well. And look, where was the accountability? Where was her mother in all this? Her mother was not in the loop of any of this. So I blame the parent as well. But where was the moment where you say, I stayed with this man knowing he was trash? I'm not saying blame yourself for getting hurt. I'm saying take ownership for staying in a fire when you already knew you were burning. Then she hit us with the round three. She's 21 in college, about to walk across the stage, pregnant again. This time by a guy named Jordan, who told her I can have kids and I didn't finish inside you. What? So ladies, y'all just let a man do whatever y'all want and convincing y'all like they scientists. If the man doesn't want kids and you don't want kids, show up with protection. Period. And then she says, he paid for the abortion and I went shopping with the money. Now it's not just bad decision making. Now we in the I don't care territory. And I'm not here to throw stones, but you made the story public. When you put it on the internet, you put it on social media, it's there forever, and you open it up for the public. So you can't tell a wild story and then say, don't judge me in the comment section in the same breath talking about I got time today. Don't tear me up too bad in the comments. So what even gets messier is the same guy pregnant again, but now she's in grad school, right? Because it's given you're smart enough to get 2 degrees, but not smart enough to use protection. So you mean to tell me that you're in your 20s, fully grown, educated, chasing the money, and you still letting the same man run back and forth through you with no protection? This ain't about making no decisions or making no mistakes. Sorry, this ain't about making mistakes. This is about choosing the same mistake with the full knowledge of the consequences. But you just keep excluding yourself from accountability. Now, look, I will say she gets real at the end. She says all of this has made her not even want children anymore. She talks about the trauma, the pain, the regret. That's heavy. She's got the house, the degree, the income, but no kids. But she says, I have something ripped out of me too many times. I quoted that. That's a quote. And look, I believe in second chances. I believe people grow. But growth without accountability is just performance and it's surface level healing. And what I don't see in her story is the moment of don't do what I did. I haven't heard her say it. All I hear is this happened, not I messed up. I hear trauma, no transformation. And that's where my issue lies, right? And I could be wrong. We having a conversation. Let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. But this culture of where we tell horror stories and then throw in, but I'm good now at the end, where's the truth in full context, okay? Because you was moving wild. If you really want to tell a story, you was moving wild. You wasn't thinking straight. You ignored the red flags. And you thought you could change a man, but that's most likely what it was. And you used abortion as a safety net instead of a last resort. You messed up because that's the part these females need to hear, right? You used abortion as a safety net because you thought the man would have been the man that you wanted him to be, and then when he wasn't the man you wanted him to be, you was like, I don't want no kid with this man. That's what happened because that's the part she not talking about. Not just the chaos, not just the drama, but the reality that not everyone bounces back, not everyone heals, and not everyone walks across the stage after their third abortion, and some people stay broken, right? So look, I'm not here to belittle or bash her, but the thing is, that's her story. The stories carry weight, and if your story inspires someone to make the same decisions you regret, that's not healing, that's harm, is where I'm coming from, right? And this whole to each is their own mindset got folks thinking you could dodge consequences forever. But life don't work like that. If you're going to share your truth, share the lesson, not just the plot twist. I'm a big believer, and I say it all the time. I would rather you not like me and you do better in your life, and I push you for greatness and have a positive impact on you. I would rather you hate me and not like me, but I push you to be better, rather than you liking me and I'm still letting you do the very decisions over and over again. So all I'm saying is her words have impact. She put it on social media. Someone could come across this and use this as validation for chaotic behavior. Let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below, family. Peace.